Happy 2019! Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is actually the first video that I'm filming in 2019. The last video that I put up, I filmed that in 2018, so you know, because it took me like 2 weeks to edit it. Don't know why, maybe because it was Christmas, I'm not sure. But anyway, that went up the other day. That was my mat chat on how to get out of a rut. But this is the first time that I'm filming in 2019 and I can feel the energy of the year just rushing through me. So if this is the first time you're watching something in 2019, then welcome to 2019. It's just I just love saying it. 2019 feels like it's going to be a good year, you know? So for me this year, reading is something that I want to take to the next level. I love reading. It's what I want to do. I want to go to uni and like basically read. So I have decided that the first video of 2019 is going to be all about reading and books to finally read in 2019, because there are books that we just don't get around to reading, and I think it's time that we, you know, just those books that were films that we've watched and it's like, I'll read the book one day. And I want to give you some books and some recommendations for books that you can do just that, just get reading, because this is the year of reading and we're going to read like 1,000 books this year. I can feel it. So my first recommendation as a book to finally read in 2019 is Light is the New Black by Rebecca Campbell. I have talked about this book before. I've actually finished reading this like yesterday for the second time round, and I think it was in my October sort of like autumn books to read video that I mentioned that I wanted to read this, and since then I read it twice, because in terms of self-development books, I always want to have a self-development book on one side and a fiction book on the other. I love to read them both at the same time. So if you haven't read it yet, 2019 is your year to finally read this book. It's all about just following your calling. It's about following your purpose in life and finding what that is. She is so relatable. She's a writer, but she didn't really know she was a writer. She's a mystic, a healer. She's all of these things that I think are just so cool, and she just gives you some personal experiences. But I think my favourite thing about this book is that mostly it's about you. It's about how you can help yourself to follow your light. And I just love all of the ideas that she comes up with about how we're here and why we're here. It makes you feel like you've got just a reason, you know, to get out of bed every morning and do the thing that you're trying to do. So if you're looking for something that is going to help you find a bit of balance this year, because I know I am, then I would recommend reading this book. Okay, so my next book is something that you've probably already watched on Netflix, and it is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I thought the film was amazing, and I mean, like, I read this book like when it was like pretty much read this book as soon as it came out, and it was quite a while ago, you know. And I think the excitement and the hype around the film, I was just on Netflix one day, just an innocent individual, and I just happened to come across it, and I had no idea that it was coming out, so I was so excited. I watched it as soon as I saw it and I cried, because it was just like, when I read the book I was younger than I am now, and watching it at the age of, I was 17 at the time, I was just kind of like, so much has changed. But I would recommend reading the book. I don't think that it's too late if you've watched the film to read the book. That is what this whole video is about. It's about reading those things that we kind of think, oh, it's too late to read that. It's not. This year is the time to read this book, and there are 3 books in the series now, and I still need to read a 3rd one because I'm really slow. But this book is amazing. If you don't know anything about To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Lara Jean is just the most aesthetically pleasing character I think ever created. She just does things that you kind of think, I wish I would just do that on a daily basis. She's inspired me to make everything around me completely beautiful, and I think watching the film was exactly the same experience. And this book is about family love, it's about, you know, love, it's about a guy, but it's also about sisters. She sends out letters by accident to a bunch of boys who she'd written like love letters to say goodbye to them when she was done having a crush on them, which sounds really weird, but it kind of makes sense when you watch it or when you read it. 1,000,000%, this is a really, really good book. On my blog, I talked a bit about how my theme going into 2019 is magic. I have had a theme for the past 2 years now, and I didn't really think about it this time. I just kind of went, it's magic, isn't it? It's just, that's what it is. It just made more sense to me, and that is my theme, it's magic. So in the spirit of magic, I would recommend that you read this year Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. This book is just one of my all-time favourite self-development themed books. It's just so good. And Elizabeth Gilbert is one of my favourite like humans just in general, because she's just amazing, she's inspiring, she's just a wonderful person, she's a writer. So, you know, for me, I'm just like, any writer, I'm just like, I love you, you know. But this book is all about creative living, and I first heard about the idea of creative living from Elizabeth Gilbert in her masterclass on Calm, and I was just like, that makes so much sense to me, because at the time I was struggling to balance my writing and just like doing YouTube and blogging and all of that stuff, all that creative things, which are the things that actually make me feel the most myself. But I was trying to balance them with everything else in my life, and just by reading this book and listening to her masterclass, I was able to just kind of like hone in on that skill. So I'd recommend it. If you're trying to find a bit more magic this year, then Big Magic is definitely the way to go. It's definitely a way to go. And you haven't got to be trying to be a writer to read Big Magic. It's not just about creativity as in actual creativity, it's about making everything around you more beautiful than it needs to be, which is a quote, I believe, from the book. So the next book that I would recommend that you finally get around to reading in 2019 is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. So good. I went to watch the film last year, maybe even the year before that, with my friend, and we just enjoyed it so much. And at that point I'd already read the book and she hadn't, and she said that she really liked the film, and I was like, yeah, but the book was better. The book is just, if you don't know anything about it, this book is all about, I'm gonna read the book. Live life in a bubble or risk everything for love. Maddie's allergic to the world. She hasn't left her house in 17 years. Ollie is the boy next door. He's determined to find a way to reach her. Everything Everything is about the crazy risks we take for love. It's so good. She has a disease that means that she can't leave the house, and she ends up going on this love story with a boy who moves in next door who's got his own issues, and it all kicks off, and I really can't say anything without giving spoilers. But if you have been to watch this in the cinema, then I think it's time to read it this year, because the book is so much better, because you have, I don't know, like, you have more of that sort of like experience, you really get into the characters more and you feel it more at the end. That's all I'm gonna say. So the final book that I think it's time to finally read in 2019, and I'm saying this to myself as well, is Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. This book, I read this a long time ago. This is the first book of a very long series. I was only talking to my friend the other day about how there's like 10,000 books in this series, but the thing is, it's really good. I read the first 3, I'm like so far behind, and this year I'm deciding that I'm going to read the entire series again from the start, because I can't remember anything that happened. I can't even remember some of the characters' names. It's like, oh, do you remember Bob? And I'm like, who's Bob? And it's kind of freaking me out, because I really love this book. It's dystopian, and I feel like you can't have a year without having some sort of dystopian book there to read at some point, you know, like, especially when your theme of the year is magic. How can you go through that year without reading a dystopian book? If you're looking for a dystopian book to read, because there are so many out there, then I'd really recommend Throne of Glass. I will read a blurb for you, my dears. Meet Selena Sardovian. Beautiful, deadly, destined for greatness. In the dark, filthy salt mines of Endovia, an 18-year-old girl is serving a life sentence. She is a trained assassin, the best of her kind, but she made a fatal mistake. She got caught. Young Captain Westfall offers her a deal. Her freedom in return for one huge sacrifice. Selena must represent the prince in a to-the-death tournament, fighting the most gifted thieves and assassins in the land. Live or die, Selena will be free. Win or lose, she's about to discover her true destiny, but will her assassin's heart be melted? Oh, it sounds so good. I feel like I haven't read it before, and I have. I assure you I've read it like twice, but every time I read it, it's just a really good book, and the series is really good. It's very long, but just, you know, you got to invest in something, and not that many books do series these days, so we've got to take what we got, and this is a good book, so I'd recommend it. And that completes it. That is my list of books that I suggest you finally read in 2019. I want to know, what is your theme for the year? I want to know what you're trying to do, what are your ambitions for this year, what are your resolutions, what are your goals, and we can just, you know, we can just get that positive energy flowing between us, because it's important. I think this is going to be a big year, especially when it comes to things like reading and creativity and magic. That's how I feel. I have to see what happens this time next year, if I'll be sitting here like, yeah, 2019 sucks. But I don't think it will be the case. As always, I love you lots and lots, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment if you liked the video. I will see you next week. Bye. I'm gonna go have a nap.